Hi everybody, it's Dr. Kim Deramo. I want to share with you a really powerful concept that helped me realign everything in my understanding and my connection with my heart and really everything in my life to allow it to come into a new alignment. And that's this concept of the octaves of consciousness. There's different levels of consciousness we reside at. And this was introduced to me by an amazing woman named Sylvie Olivier and her husband Bernard Theron, who are founders of Golden Heart Wisdom. And this is a huge premise of their work as well. It really resonates with my work in mind-body medicine. But specifically, there was one major key here that helped me break out of this never-ending struggle, like search for more, growth. I've got to get there and be in this freedom to really enter the state of allowing true freedom. And that is called neutrality, that space within us that isn't about attachment, isn't about the mind, isn't about getting somewhere, and allows us to reside in that infinite freedom. It goes beyond what the mind can understand, but I'm going to assist you with experiencing that through this construct of the octaves of consciousness. So it sort of has three different levels. Here we have the first level, and this is on the outside of the circle. That's the first octave. And then inside here, you come closer in toward the center, and you're on the second octave. And then in here, where these bricks are kind of welded together, interspersed, intermingled, that's the third octave. And then in the center is what's called the crystal heart. That's kind of the core of where all of this is bringing us into. Now, in this first octave, it's like we're totally unconscious in life. We're living in fight or flight. We're born into this world, we sort of download the awareness of what are the rules, what's expected of me, what I should and shouldn't do in order to succeed. And we sort of live life according to those rules. And that might look like I'm gonna work hard and get a job, study hard, get a good job, and I'm gonna be set for life. A lot of it has to do with avoiding conflict, avoiding feeling our fear, avoiding feeling our pain. But if I do it all right, follow the rules, I'm going to be safe and I'm going to be okay. So a lot of this is in fight or flight and survival. Life is happening to me. I'm experiencing life as a victim. Maybe I'm lucky and something good happens to me, or oh, I'm unlucky and something bad happened. But either way, it's like life is happening to me. There's not much involvement I have. There's not much I can do about it. And we all kind of start out in that first octave to some degree. And what happens is life bumps you out. It actually has something happen to you, like you lose your job, you get a divorce, your spouse leaves you, you lose your money, or you get cancer. And these are experienced in a passive way, like, oh, this is what happened to me. But it is part of this awakening. Life is bringing us into a higher experience of our essence, our truth. So no matter how long you are in that space of the first octave, you'll know it if you have hard and fast, rules. This is the way it is. This is how it is, and I'm sticking to it. And if it scares you to kind of open to new ideas and new concepts. So you'll kind of notice this in other people you see. If they're in a victim state where like life's happening to me, or you did this to me, or I better do this, I better not do that. Those are all first octave consciousness experiences. And once that thing awakens you, like it doesn't work anymore, you lose your job, you lose your house, your spouse leaves you, like all of these things I'm doing right didn't work. It's an awakening experience. That's one of the gifts of like a major illness happening in someone's life. I knew someone who had a bad trauma, a fall, and it severed his spinal cord. And he ended up awakening, like, wow, I never knew I could be so fully alive. I didn't even know who that other guy was. I wasn't really being myself. Now it's invited me to live my life more fully. We do have the opportunity to embrace that catastrophe that awakens us in that way. For a lot of us, we resist it. Oh, this shouldn't have happened. This is bad. This shouldn't have happened to me. I don't want to embrace life this way. And we close down and close down. Eventually, life does move us into greater awakening. And then we go into this space very often. It's called the second octave. Now, this is where I want to spend a lot of my time getting some clarity, because I hung out here for a long time trying to get ahead, a lot of self-improvement, got to improve myself, be a better person. It was all about the future. It was all about like that next thing. I'm going to do this and then get this thing. Positive, negative. Be positive. Don't be negative. Make it happen. I'm a co-creator. A lot of things that reside in this space of the second octave are like law of attraction, in the way a lot of people interpret it. It's like, you've got to make it happen. It's up to you. You've got to be positive. Don't be negative. It's a space of duality. And there are a lot of people operating in this space who are sharing sort of higher level concepts, but they're not residing there. And that was one of the things that held me back for so long with my work, with money, with my relationships. And I didn't understand. See, we can't get to this space of heart through the mind. No matter how long you study self-improvement, study self-development, go to Tony Robbins, rah, 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 whatever, that all exists in this space, but it will never allow you to emerge into the heart. And there's a lot of practitioners where we're like doing things in this duality, you know, evaluating the alternative. So we come from traditional to this alternative. Wow, it's really open-minded, and we're opening our mind in a new way. But we can get stuck in those tools, thinking it's about those tools. It's about this diet. It's about this testing. It's about this method. You got to learn this method. And we learn and we learn and we learn and we learn. We're moving faster. We're more connected, but it's always about learning more. And eventually what happens, and this one's a more self-directed awakening than the first one, eventually we get to a point where it's like, this is not working. I'm suffering, I'm struggling, I'm never getting to the there that this is trying to get me to. I am ready for more. And we actually have a surrender. And it's an internal surrender. It's a surrender that allows us to let go of everything we think in the mind, everything we've learned, everything we've studied, all of the judgment, all of the beliefs. It's, you know, if I could just fix my beliefs and I can get ahead, that's all here. And we have this surrender to let go of all of that and emerge into a deeper knowing that comes from within ourselves. And that is when we emerge into the third octave. The third octave is a space of neutrality. It's not the dualistic good and bad, right and wrong, be positive. It actually allows us to embrace all that is. Now, when we're learning that from this space, the second octave, it doesn't make sense. We try to understand it, we try to get it, we can't get it. You actually must connect within yourself in order to emerge in this space. And in this space, there's a lot more interconnectedness, awareness of your connection with others. It's not a space of judgment. It's a space of all embracing your struggle, embracing your anger, embracing fear as part of the human experience, but moving through it in fluidity. Instead of battling against it, fighting against it, trying to avoid it like we do in this first octave, trying to overcome it and fix it like we do in the second octave, it's actually, it dissolves. We allow it to dissolve as we move through all of our experiences fluidly. Now, you can't emerge into this space through learning more, trying harder, or trying to get somewhere. It's a space within you. It's already here. And it requires us to sort of transcend the mind and go into the space of the heart. The mind will never understand the heart. The mind cannot rationally experience love or explain love. It has to come from connecting with ourselves within. So in this space, a lot of times, this is what really kept me out of neutrality. Neutrality is embracing all that is. It's not about good or bad, right and wrong, positive, negative. It's allowing all of it and experiencing it in fluidity. There's harmony, there's flow. Money comes to me effortlessly. Work is not this like, oh, I got to work harder to get ahead that lives out here in second octave. You got to work harder, you got to prove yourself. And then you get somewhere. It's always a means to an end. And I lived here for a long time, trying harder and harder and harder to overcome all of those obstacles, to do more, to be better, to improve. And all it did was put me into greater struggle, greater exhaustion, greater debt. And it really was that eventually just myself saying, there's something here that I kind of believe in, but I know I need to let all of this go and release it. And that's what allowed me to emerge more fully into neutrality. Now, the biggest things that keep people, it's like neutrality bumps, it bumps you back out, is trying to get there. Trying to get somewhere, but where do I get? Or being in that experience of neutrality and then I hope I stay there. I hope I don't go back. That bumps you right back into duality, good and bad. The thing for me that really kept bumping me out was this idea that it was somehow better. It was superior. Oh, I've arrived in this higher place. And my former self, she didn't know what she was doing. Or all those other people, they don't know what they're doing. Boom, right back into the second octave. Comparison, duality, right and wrong, judgment. In neutrality, we release all of that from our experience. We allow ourselves to experience ourselves in fluidity, to accept ourselves fully. So a lot of the teachings I share about you feel fear, embrace it, allow it, accept it. That energy will move. You can't understand that from the space of the second octave. It's like, well, how do I embrace it? I don't get it. What do I do? I've got to know. When you even have just 2% more of just receiving it. Okay, here's this person saying this thing. My mind doesn't get it, but I'm just going to allow myself to receive it and see if I can feel something, see if I can receive it in my heart. We must go into that space in order to really get to this, this higher consciousness. And when we're here, it does inform our mind so that we now have an understanding. We can understand so many more things. Things make sense. We understand the hardships we've been through, the purpose they've served in our life. We can understand where other people are at, why they're screaming and shouting at us, why they're in fear, why they're attacking us, from a space of compassion. But the mind can't integrate any of that from the second octave understanding. It actually requires us to go through this portal of the heart, allowing a greater degree of pure love, of harmony, and then it really does inform us. It's like a download, and we begin to understand things differently. So it's not about get rid of the mind, overcome the mind, meditate more and silence the mind. That all lives out here, right? Super hard. And it won't really get you to that level of fruition, fulfillment, fluidity, peace, love, ease that we all really deeply know is possible for us. So if you're listening to this video, you're very likely spending time maybe in that second octave, searching, seeking, knowing there's something more, there is something more, but like, how do I get there? So I would invite you to allow this emergence from within you and let go of everything you've learned. The other bumps that keep us from embracing this are, I want to be there. I want to get there. Where I'm at is not good enough. Not embracing where we are. So if you find yourself hanging out here, don't make it a wrongness. Oh, why aren't I there? When we embrace fully, oh, here I am back again, and right and wrong, I'm back in judgment. I love and accept myself fully. It will bring you back into that emergence of neutrality. It's very simple. When we're out here, everything's really, really hard. And as a physician, I was, learning more and more in medicine, and then I started learning functional medicine and immediately realized, wait a minute, I'm like micromanaging the parts, like micromanaging your physiology, micromanaging your digestion, micromanaging your chemistry. And I could start to feel like that isn't here. I'd experienced a lot more of healing modalities along my way as a physician. So I had this awareness of what that really felt like, and it was so expansive. But when I started to learn about gotta fix the DNA SNPs, and we gotta micromanage the diet, and we've gotta fix these enzymes, and it was like, that just wasn't aligned with the neutrality that I had already experienced. And there are a lot of people receiving that, and I did too. You have this autoimmune illness, and you've got to do all these things, and eat these food, and don't eat these food, and use these medications, and it was like all these supplements. And a lot of my clients have been here, like 25 supplements, but they had some awareness, there's something more for me. And what happened for me, and what I see happen every day for the people I work with, as we emerge into this space, it allows an opening in the body. It informs our cells at a higher level. And it also allows DNA repair, changes your DNA expression. Not trying to be positive or think clearly or clear my mind or any of that. Emerging into this space of neutrality. And again, it goes beyond what we can understand with the mind when we're out here. So evidence-based medicine, or we already have the research to prove, and therefore now you can embrace it. Let all of that go. I'm not saying we won't be using your mind. Your mind will understand this. It makes complete logical sense, but it requires us to emerge into this space of allowing, even when the fear seems like, no, I really have to react. Embracing, compassion, effortless. It's effortless. Not that we're not in action, but it's not I gotta make it happen. I gotta go to work. I got to overcome. Out here is about discipline, right? Second chakra. If you could, I'm going to discipline myself, and now I've achieved this thing. It's never allowing you to enter true ease. So if this resonates with you, this is what you're ready for. And so these things that I've shared, especially the neutrality bumps, the things that bump you back out, like for me where it was, this is better, I gotta get to this better place. And now have fully embraced like, it's all beautiful. That was really hard for me to get my head around when I was suffering so much. But the more I've been invited to my heart, the more I've seen that that is truly the path. So I hope this clarifies a lot of what my work has been in mind body medicine and a lot of other practitioners out there. One other thing that really distracted me was people who reside in this space of second octave, but they're teaching these concepts that resonate with neutrality. And it sounds good and it makes sense, but like no matter how many tens of thousands of dollars I would spend on these programs or mentorship or whatever programs, coaching, it never made a difference in my life. And when I started working with people who were grounded in the space of neutrality, namely Sylvie and Bernard at Golden Heart Wisdom, was the most amazing experience of my life, because not only were they sharing some concepts that kind of resonated, but it wasn't about the concept. It's not about the tools. It's not about the information. It's about the space we are emanating from. And as a practitioner, that's made all the difference for me in assisting others, assisting people where the more I reside here, the more powerful results I can invite people into to experience through working with me. The more you reside in the space, the more like things will come in that assist you. And so we choose this. It was a big difference to feel the invitation to work with Sylvie and Bernard, and all the invitation to work with people who were kind of out here. Hey, do this, and in 30 days you're gonna have this thing in 5 steps, or buy now or else blah blah blah. If a person is in urgency, trying to kind of coax you in from your own fear, it's not the same space, not the same invitation as a person who's in neutrality. So when I'm in this space, I can invite people, and it's, they choose it, they don't choose it, but I'm in the space of wholeness. And hey, more people can come and play. It's easier for people to come and work with me and know, wow, this person really resonates for me as I've chosen this. And it's scary. You actually have to release fear to a huge degree. That's one of the biggest things I've helped people do, is like move beyond their fear. Embrace their fear so that you can reside in this space. Yes, it heals the body. Yes, it makes you money. Yes, it brings you love. Like all these externals, which are the things we think that we want. But those are a result of embracing ourself, which is actually the end in of itself. When you embrace yourself fully, you are in fulfillment. So all things happening around you, you have money, you don't have money, you actually are in the stillness of well-being. And of course, it invites in more abundance, more love, more joy, all of the things that match the neutrality, the true joy that you're in. But it's not about the means to the end. I got to get this, I got to get that, which really all lives here. So I hope this gives you that distinction that it was for me, and being able to choose the things that assisted me in coming into my essence and release, not even be distracted anymore by all the noise. Oh, we gotta do this thing, we gotta do that thing, this is gonna change your life. So I would love to hear your comments on this. This is something that's been really inspiring for me. You can find me at drkimd.com for assistance support. I put out a lot of great videos all the time from my heart, and programs, and work with people privately in groups and retreats. There's all kinds of amazing things that this has invited me into doing with my work, and I would lovingly assist you with the same. Sharing my love with you, and I'll see you soon.